Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me again. This is part 2 of our Introduction to Human Design tutorial for beginners. I decided to split it into 2 parts because I found that actually the first one kind of went a lot more in depth in a beautiful way. So if you haven't already, I recommend checking part 1. This goes more into the quantum physics side of things, the way our universe works, the way our outer reality is actually influenced by our inner dialogue. Today I'm going to be walking through the human design chart and how to read the body graph, how to interpret your human design type profile. My name is Melissa Johnston and I'm the founder of Nirvana Collective. I'm also a human design and quantum alignment practitioner, and I am here to help you guys co-create the new earth. So let's get started. Okay, I'm just moving up here. So from the first video, we actually covered more the origins of human design, the quantum mechanics and the quantum field of infinite possibilities, as well as deconditioning our minds from society and the imprinting we've received from our upbringing. So now, this time, we're going to actually focus on how to read the human design chart, as well as how to use it to transform your life, and an introduction to the 5 types. So, up until now, we've discussed how I love this picture so much because there's so many possible angles it could take. Like, it reminds me of the placenta on the outside. The lines you'll see, it reminds me of the tree of life. It reminds me of kind of like an eyeball, like a lens, as well as like the electricity currents. It just seems like there's so much meaning. And I would love to hear yours too if you have a perspective to share. So this is basically just a visual to explain how our perception of reality is actually influenced by our inner dialogue through the beliefs that we hold, the narrative that we hold, and those things are simultaneously attracting the external experiences, people, places, things into our physical reality. So going back to this diagram, the infinite possibilities that exist in the quantum field, and the blue line representing the filter, depending on our internal dialogue, our narrative, our beliefs. And then what we actually experience in our life is drawn down from the infinite realm, depending on how we view it, view the world, view ourselves, what role we play. Now, relating to this to human design, you can see the one center covered in red. This is the magnetic monopole. And it truly is a magnet. So when we're talking about our heart resonance going outwards, depending on our frequency, attracting, the things that we're experiencing, this is the thing that's pulling it. So this is what a traditional human design chart looks like. I know in the beginning it's a little bit intimidating and it's quite foreign. To me, it was totally foreign language and I was intrigued, but also a little bit overwhelmed. So don't worry, there's only a few key pieces of information you need to know to get started. That is your type, which is one of 5 different auras you exude into the world. The profile, which is a combination of 2 numbers. The first number, as you can see here in this one, is the 5. So that is the conscious part of the personality. And the number 1 in this chart is the unconscious. You can see that the 5 originates from the mind side, and it is this last number here. And the body side is the unconscious, the number 1. So it's that second one past the decimal for each. Then what we need to know is our strategy. And that basically just means how we best operate in the world, as well as our authority, which is the way we are intended to make decisions. So these are the 9 energy centers. And you will see that some of them will either be colored in or not. If they are colored in, that means they are defined, meaning this is where you actually influence the world or you exude your energy outwards for the world. The ones that are undefined means that you absorb information or energy from those around you in the world around you. It's kind of like a nature versus nurture. Next, you'll see how it relates to the chakra system. So again, they're very similar, except chakra system is based off of 7 chakras. Human design is currently based off of 9 centered beings. And with our current evolutionary point in time, we are actually developing into 12-centered beings between now and 2027. In this diagram, you will see that there are 4 motors, and depending on your design, you may have multiple defined or 1 defined. But essentially, this is where your energy comes from. Your life force is coming from your root at the very bottom right here, your sacral, your solar plexus, which is your emotional center, or your heart. And this is a good visual for defined versus open centers. Now, one is not better than the other. It's literally just a matter of open centers are like antennas, like receivers. So when you are especially sensitive to the external environment or people around you, the influences, this could be due to these centers being open. You are literally just absorbing information from other people that they exude. Defined centers are where you actually influence the collective energies by exerting your energy and knowledge outwards. So this is like I don't want to say 5G, but a tower, like a wireless transmitter tower. The numbers that you will see in your human design chart relate to the 64 gates. So one of these numbers as an individual point is called a gate, and it's actually from the Chinese I Ching. Now, when 2 of these gates are connected, then as you can see here, they form what's called a channel. And a channel is like an amplified theme, a gift of yours, point in your human design that is especially relevant. There are 2 gates per channel, so it's just one side connecting to the other, and each of the sides that are connected are coming from one respective center, energy center. A defined channel is where the individual gates on each side are part of defined energy centers. So here the anja is defined, as well as the throat. And if you want to get really specific, you can see actually how the individual numbers in the human design chart, the individual gates, relate to various planets. And the red is basically your design, your unconscious, your body, as well as the black is your conscious or your mind. If we have a gate here, or a channel that is kind of a black and red checkered one, that means that it is influenced from both sides. Then tying this into, astrology and the zodiac, these are the planetary symbols, and then you can see how those personality aspects of yourself are influenced by the planetary alignments, depending on when you were born. Again, this is a very good illustration of the conscious, the unconscious channels, the checkered ones, which are a mixture of both. So next we're going to dive into the 5 energy types that we briefly touched on. Again, it's basically just the type of aura that you have. If you imagine life as one big show or a play, everybody has a role. And all our life, according to society and our imprinting and conditioning, we've been taught that we just need to go for it. We just need to execute. We just need to do this. And realistically, it's actually more of like a figurative baton race, meaning that some people are meant to be the visionaries. Some people are meant to be the executors. Some people are meant to be the managers. And this is how you can see what your strengths are. For example, I'm a manifesting generator, and I can pop ideas out like there's no tomorrow. I'm an idea house, like I just spit ideas everywhere, but I can't execute. When it comes to execution, that's not my strength. And I always thought it had to be something, but it's actually not meant to be that way. Without further ado, presenting each energy type and the role that they play in this game called life. So manifestors make up 9% of the population. These are referred to as initiators. They are the starting line. They work on their own time, and they are the first ones to come up with these ideas and then work with the generator types, the manifesting generator and the generator, to relay it and collaborate on bringing stuff into form. The generator is 37% of the population, and these are the powerhouses. They have sustainable workforce energy and access, and they actually are meant to wear themselves out every day in order to have a healthy sense of well-being. Manifesting generators are a hybrid of both of the previous. We are 33% of the population, and we are the time benders. So we are meant to bend time through skipping steps and being fast, and then going back as necessary to correct where we found that maybe we oversaw something that was actually quite important, or correcting things that we didn't do correctly the first time. Next, we have the projectors, 20% of the population. These are also called the orchestrators, and the reason for this is they're not actually meant to be the workforce. They are very skilled at oversight. These are the people that are true managers. They can visualize and perfect, say, an assembly line, or the way people are supposed to do a project. They don't have access to sustainable workforce energy, but they are the ones that have the proper bird's eye view vision of how things are supposed to go. Lastly, these are the rarest type of all. Reflectors make up 1% of the population, and it is theorized, actually, that in this new Earth... Actually, let me sidetrack. Let me backstep for a second. The reason that they're so rare and what's so unique about them is they actually have no aura. They don't attract any or repel any energy. They simply mirror back to people, places, and things what is already happening. So what makes them so special is actually the theories are stating that as we progress towards 2027, reflectors are going to be the new world leaders because their human design strategy simply reflects without any effort back to the world what is happening, what they need to adjust. So they're truly neutral, but depending on how they're acting, reacting, they are going to be basically handing back things are good or not good. So to summarize, there are 3 basic keys that we need to understand our human design to get started. And that first one is the type, which is your Auric type, whether you are a manifestor, manifesting generator, projector, or reflector. The strategy is basically a specific way of finding direction in life and making decisions. So if you simply know your type and you follow the strategy for your type, you're immediately going to begin synchronizing your life with your life purpose, your soul purpose, and what you came here to do. So remember when I said, like, life is not supposed to be difficult, and when we're constantly treading water or trying to think of the solutions to our problems, trying to search and dig and make things happen, that means we're not in alignment with who we are and how we're supposed to operate. If we follow our strategy and just trust the unknown leaping there, self-aware of who we are, we naturally attract all the right things we're meant to experience that couldn't be better than our wildest dreams. And that's what's so special about it. It's supposed to be effortless, and abundance is our birthright. Authority influences our decision-making strategy. It basically is either emotional, self-projected, or splenic. And with this, it influences the way we are supposed to contemplate things that come into our external reality. Profile, which is the 2 numbers that we talked about in the beginning.